much. Joining me now on the Middle East, the author of the book Hunting the Caliphate, retired U.S. Army Major General Dana Pittard. General, great to have you with us as always. So President Trump has issued what he calls a final warning. He issued another warning just a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was. Release all the hostages now. Hamas clearly ignored that warning because many of the hostages are still being held. Do you think this final warning will make any difference?
Well, good morning, Jonathan. Actually, I don't. I don't think Hamas is paying much attention to it. There was a warning before the inauguration, and Hamas didn't pay attention to that. So there's no reason to think that Hamas is paying attention to this one either.
So, General, it seems really difficult when you're dealing with an organization that, as you say, is ignoring warnings from the President of the United States, is fighting the Prime Minister of Israel and the entire Israeli population. And you see, though, when we have the hostages releases, as we're looking there on screen, you see these masked fighters lining up. Has anything really changed other than the destruction, physical destruction of a lot of Gaza? There doesn't seem to be much destruction of the ideology of Hamas, which is Prime Minister Netanyahu's stated goal.
No, it's absolutely changed in many ways. Hamas, though, has not been destroyed, but Hamas has been defeated. So it's time for Hamas to come to the table. Hamas has very little leverage. They have the hostages, and that's really it. And if they're not careful, and if Israel is released by the United States to go into Gaza and absolutely destroy Hamas, they can. But this is to help the Palestinian people. So Hamas needs to come to the table. I think the agreements that Israel is looking at is fair for at least Hamas and gives the Palestinian people a chance.
Hamas said today, I believe it was this morning, they released a statement saying that there were, I think the words were something like positive signs regarding phase 2 of the ceasefire. So it appears that the sides are talking, General, but if you had to look at the future, would you say that this ends up as a deal where all the hostages get released and there is some sort of negotiated deal here? Or, as you hinted there, does President Trump say to Israel, all the reins are off, do what you need to do? Which of those is the more likely scenario?
Well, I would hope that Hamas comes to the table, because if they do not release the hostages, they will have no support from the U.S. In the future. So they need to release the hostages, including the American Eden Alexander.
And General, before I let you go, I want to get your thoughts on Iran as well, if you don't mind. President Trump has written this letter to the Iranian leadership, trying to get negotiations on their nuclear capabilities restarted. The Ayatollah Ali Khamenei responded this morning saying, "We will not be bullied." How does that play out, General?
Well, Iran, their cards are not really good right now. Obviously, much of their air defense capability was destroyed by Israel, and they're not in a very good position right now. So I think that Iran can come around and sit down with not only the United States, but Saudi Arabia and others in the region, so that their nuclear capability can end, and that they do not get a nuclear weapon. That would make the entire situation in the Middle East much, much worse.
Yeah. These are difficult times, certainly. It'll be interesting to see how all of this plays out. Retired U.S. Army Major General Dana Pittard. General, it is wonderful to talk to you as always. Thank you so much for spending part of your Saturday with us.